Recovery Shared, your online source for all things recovery.
Hello, welcome back to Recovery Shared. My name is Justin Sims. I am joined by my colleague and hetero life mate, Michael Stone. Welcome to Recovery Shared. We're your online source for all things addiction and recovery. Today we're going to do a special video because Michael Stone has never heard Russell Brand's version of the 12 steps. And I personally love Russell Brand's version of the 12 steps. Now, just as an asterisk, I respect Russell Brand incredibly for the things that he's done as a person. His acting work. So this is Russell Brand's 12 steps rendition. Okay, so we're going to start. We're going to pause and play as we go and kind of talk about our reactions to it. Okay, let's see.
First thing, are you a bit fucked? The first thing is admitting that there's some sort of problem. It could be I'm always getting into shit relationships, I'm always getting into jobs and not liking it, I get into continual conflict with other males, I don't have good relationships with my family members. Are you a bit fucked? You know, so as soon as you acknowledge a problem, I think the possibility for change begins, but not without...
Alright, so that's step one, Mike. You admit that you are a bit fucked, as he says, right? So step one, we admitted that we were powerless over blank, and that our lives have become unmanageable, right? That's the step where you admit you're powerless and unmanageable. So are you a bit fucked? I love it because this is just like, to me, this is like this whole thing of his 12-step remix is like, it's almost like the street version to me. To me, this is you got to remember when the 12 steps were written, it was written in the 30s. So the world has changed quite a bit since then, if you haven't noticed. And so this, to me, is the more new millennium verbiage.
Fucks covers a lot of things.
Yeah. And he likes that saying that word a lot.
Whole fucking gamut.
But, hey,
anything.
easy to check in, guys. Step one to any problem is realizing that you're fucked. You're a bit fucked. So,
yeah.
You know, for people that think that they're okay, I got this, I'm good, they're not at step one yet.
Right.
So that's, like everybody's heard this, and this just doesn't... equate to alcohol or drugs or other substance abuse issues, but really any issue is you can't really deal with the problem until you admit that you have a problem, right? So admitting that you're quite fucked. Let's see what step two says.
Saying, could you not be fucked? That's the second step. Is it possible to not be fucked? 3, are you on...
Pause. All right. So, step two.
What's the one in the book?
Well, let's do his first. Step two is, can you be unfucked? So, step one, we admitted we were powerless over alcohol.
No, it says you can be unfucked.
Right, you can be, yeah.
Right.
So, step one, we admitted that we were powerless over blank, and that our lives had become unmanageable. 2, came to believe that a power greater than... Oh, no, that's 3. Let's see what he says about 3. Come on. Let's see.
Your own gonna unfuck yourself. Right, that means accepting help. For me, I knew I was a smackhead. It's obvious.
All right, so pause this. Okay, so step 3. Do you think by yourself you can unfuck yourself?
No,
so that's
he's
the
saying
God
you can't.
concept.
Right.
Right.
So he's saying...
So came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. Right? So that's having to believe that you by yourself can't control this. I got this. I got this. I can do this by myself.
Right.
That's never going to work.
Right.
So his version of that is, do you believe that you cannot do this alone?
Said it all.
Says it all. Let's see.
What did he say again?
Can you unfuck yourself alone? Basically. And the answer is no.
Well, okay, but Ali would say there's different levels of being an addict.
Well, yeah, there's different levels to everything. There's levels to everything, but you can't this is a we program.
Right.
The amazing thing about this program, and he discusses it a little bit, is that we tackle and get over obstacles in a group setting. It's a collective thing, not one person. So like,
well, you can't do it alone, even if it's not a group thing. Even if you're taking medication, there's a doctor giving you the medication.
Sure,
right.
But it's also trying to get
alone.
out of not just another person.
Oh, you've already tried.
1,000,000 times.
Right.
Let's see what he says about step 4.
But I came to believe from meeting people that was much worse smackheads than me who had got clean that it was possible to not be a smackhead. But I knew that I wouldn't be able to do it on my own. If we had the answer to our problems inside our own fucking head, we'd have found it by now. If any version of psychoanalyses or whatever it is you're traipsing through to unravel the mysteries of your past, if it was going to be done in solitude, I think we would have happened upon it. This is where this program becomes interesting because it happens collectively as a group. I know that all of you have got stories. I know that any one of you could tell me something about yourself that would make me cry because it's so painful and so beautiful. I know you still carry aspirations. I know that you carry with you the heartache, the heartbreak. I know the 3 a.m. you.
I love that.
The third step, are you on your own going to unfuck yourself? It has sort of mystical and spiritual connotations, i.e. I happen to believe in God. I believe in God, a form of God, not some daft fucking thing written down in an old book. No, limitless consciousness, mysteries, entanglement, the roaring world of coincidence. Step 4 is where it gets a bit fucking admin heavy. Step 4 is this: write down all the things that are fucking you up or have ever fucked you up. Don't lie or leave anything out.
Pause.
That's a hard
Write down everything that's ever fucked you up and has ever fucked anybody else up, and don't lie or leave anything else. Step 4, made a searching and moral, fearless inventory of ourselves.
With your sponsor.
Well, that's step 5. Step 4 is, well, yeah, they go together. You're right. It's
I
just,
haven't read them in a long time.
well, 4 is like, if you're my sponsor, 4 is like the homework I do, and 5 is me showing you my homework.
Right.
So they tie in together. But that's such a great way of saying, did a searching and
Right.
moral, fearless inventory of myself. Wrote down all the shit that fucked me up.
That could take
and didn't lie.
years.
Oh yeah. Well, he says it in a second. I mean, you got to think this guy was living the rock star life. I mean, if you and I had been doing our ripping and running with his bank account, we might have gone way worse, you know? So he talks about how it took him years to write his 4th step because he didn't want to leave anything else. He didn't want to leave anything out. Now, guys, make sure you do a 4th so you don't drink a 5th. Let's see this.
Process. See you've probably got things where someone was rude to you at school, broke your heart, made you feel insignificant, inadequate about your body or about your life or about something in you. I fucking did. Loads of things happened to me, but I've catalogued all of it. Fucking hell, it took ages. It was a right ball ache. Wrote it all down. Things that were deep in me that made me feel ashamed and separate from the world forever. Like, I could never be accepted. I'll never be good enough. I'd done that thing. That person said that thing to me. But step 5 is honestly tell someone trustworthy about how fucked you are.
Boom.
What was curious
So
about that?
honestly, tell someone trustworthy about all that fucked up shit that you wrote in step 4.
Right.
Such a great way to stay step 5. I was so scared when I did my 5th step, man, and I gotta tell you that I couldn't drive for like a couple hours after I did it. I was like fucked up, Mike, from it. Like I had never been that honest with another human being in my life. So like the weight of that feeling like gave me like a euphoric feeling. Seriously, like I was like, and I waited till the last possible moment for me to make the list. Like I didn't want to do it. I like put it away, and then when I did it, and I told this other man that I trusted all that stuff, it was like the butterfly coming out of the cocoon moment for me.
Some people have harder time than others doing it.
Absolutely, but here's the thing.
I didn't really have a hard time. I had already like pretty much
Told him. Everything.
told people. There wasn't like anybody that didn't know fucking what I did to end up in jail.
I didn't have any
or
crazy dark shit either.
I didn't have anything that at least 1 or 2 people didn't already fucking know.
But I was still nervous doing it, and as it started, it got easier. But here's the thing: I was so like, oh my god, I'm gonna tell this guy all this crazy shit I did. Dude, he was like practically about to fall asleep.
Some people
He
have
was like-
darker secrets.
He was like, oh, you know what my first sponsor told me too before I did my 5th step? He said, let me tell you something, Justin, before you start. I've sponsored rapists and murderers. He said, nothing you tell me is going to make me think any different of you. I've already made my mind up about you. So this is not going to change any of that. And he literally almost fell asleep as I was telling him this deep, crazy, dark shit that I did. He was like, you done? Like, I was like putting the dude to sleep and I was so scared. Like, oh man. So guys, fear, it's a thing that grows in your head. It's not real. Let's see what he says about the rest of step 5 and we'll go into step 6.
My step 4, which is an inventory of all my grievances, or in the parlance of this program, resentments, there were things that were so minor I was embarrassed I could remember them. Minor little things. That person looked well. Glenn Dainty, sports day, pushed me aside and won. I was 5. Could still remember it. And then things that I think, fuck, that was dark, I done that shit. Dark things, self-harming things, harm. And when I told the other geezer that I told this to, because as I say, this program is best practiced in communion, he just went, yeah, I've done something like that, that's not that bad. My point is this, that none of us need carry the shame anymore. None of us need live in a pain-based identity anymore. I put it to you that we live with a biochemistry that stimulates fear and desire in order that we may survive. Need fear, get on your fucking toes, watch yourself out on them planes. You need desire to get out there and hunt and procreate. But when you live in a culture that continually stimulates fear and desire in order to make you a better consumer, these biochemical advantages and imperatives become problematic. That's what I'm saying we're living in now. Having done this inventory, you'll be ready for step six. It reveals a lot of fucked up patterns. Like when I looked at my own life, I saw that the way I used to get expelled out of schools was the same way I would get thrown out of jobs years later. The same way that my relationship was difficult with people when I was a schoolboy became difficult romantic partnerships when I was an adult. We've got patterns, and it.
So in step 6, he's talking about the character defects here. You know, one thing that he said right before he got
Patterns.
into this, and working. You know, it's. We come into, for example, talking about AA. You go into AA for your drinking, but you stay for your thinking. You know, it's called alcoholism, not alcoholism. So it's important that you work on all those isms. Those are the things that, listen, Justin doesn't need a bottle of whiskey inside his system to be an asshole.
Right.
I don't need to snort a bunch of cocaine to be a jerk. I can be a jerk and an asshole just fine without my substances in me, right? So that's why we stay. We stay so we can continue to evolve and continue to become better people. One thing that he said that really stuck out to me was when he was talking about, before he got into step 6, he was talking about all that pain, and how we're not supposed to walk around holding on to all that. You know, it says in the big book that we're supposed to live happy, joyous, and free. Right? And that's the opposite of all that pain that he was talking about. Guys, if I wasn't having more fun and more fulfilled in my life now, without drinking and drugging, I would still be drinking and drugging. That's the fact of it. That's the truth about this alcoholic and addict.
It has to get filled by something.
Right. But I'm saying if I wasn't happier now without all that shit, I would still be doing that shit.
Right, because that void has to get filled.
Yeah, it gave me temporary whatever. It was Band-Aids after Band-Aid, but it gave me something. So guys, we're not supposed to be getting clean and sober to be miserable. You know, this is really a journey into your true self. This is where we flourish.
Fuck it, if you're going to be miserable, what's the fucking difference?
That's what I'm saying. If I was going to be miserable, I would just be drunk miserable.
Right.
Here I will make one of the most important points to you that I can make. You don't choose between working a program and not working a program. You choose between a conscious program and an unconscious program. You are already working a program without question. You are working in the conditioning of your
Can you
culture,
pause this?
your class, your family.
What he said right there is brilliant. He said, you're working a program. Either way. You're not working a program or not working a program. You're either working a program consciously or you're working a program not consciously. So you're either moving towards recovery or you're moving towards the drink. You're always moving towards one of the two.
Right.
That's what he's saying right there. You know what I mean? Because even if you don't think you're not working a program, you're actually just working a non-conscious program that's taking you closer to the drink or drug. That's what he says right there, and that is brilliant. Sorry.
In your school, you are the person that you were told to be, for good or for ill. What this is an opportunity to identify your patterns and your behaviours,
the isms,
so that you can form a better aspect of yourself. I feel that we live in a culture that exacerbates and provokes the lower aspects of our nature, the fear, the desire, the lust, in order that we will be good consumers, and ignores the fact that we are altruistic, kind, loving, and sweet. Them things get a little bit lost sometimes. Step 7, are you willing to live in a new way that's not all about you and your previous fucked up stuff? You have to.
Well, let's play. Let's see how he
There's
describes
another
step
point in
7.
this program where there's a kind of spiritual intersection. Me, I'm a person that does pray and meditate.
Spiritual
But for me, all
intersection.
that means is that I don't just live my life on a material level. I don't just think, oh, I'm Russell, I'm going to go to that thing later and talk to a squire and then I'll be in a car and that's that. No, I see myself as having a life that's beyond the limited scope of sensual and, what do I want to say, gross understanding. I believe there are subtler energies at work in a human being. You know the coincidences and synchronicities from your own life. You know the mysteries of your own myth. You know the moments where, had you turned another corner, to quote dear George Michael, another addict that we lost, that maybe your life would have been different. You'd have made different decisions. You may never have met him or her. You may never have taken that job or that opportunity. That sense that perhaps we are being guided. That sense that perhaps the same way as our fingerprints are unique, there is some other code, some less easily ascertainable code that is trying to realise itself the same way that an acorn will grow into an oak tree, the same way that there is some knowledge within each seed, within each cell, that it must realise itself. If your consciousness is in attunement with this energy, then I think there are rich possibilities for us as human beings.
Pause. So to sum up what he's talking about right there is
He just describes God in his
right
way.
Well, yeah, he's tying step 3 into step 7,
Yeah.
which there is a tie-in, because step 3 is where the first God concept is introduced. So believe that God could restore us to sanity is what he's talking about in this. When he's talking about nature, finding your what you're supposed to be here for, wondering why you met him or her, or why you took that opportunity. That's God restoring the sanity in us, because we live in such an insane world when we're actively using, when I say that's what I mean by that, that's God restoring the sanity of you finding your purpose again, of you kind of all the pieces kind of falling into place. Or like I've heard some people describe when they got sober, that all the jagged edges kind of round out.
So, I would say everybody needs a program.
You said it, Mike. You said it.
My belief is everybody needs a program.
I
Whether
agree.
you're a fucking addict or an alcoholic
Yep.
or don't even use
Well,
drugs.
the fact is, Mike, is that the only
You
step
could be
that
miserable
says...
without fucking using.
Oh yeah, there's plenty. Just go outside. There's plenty of miserable people. There's no
Right.
shortage of irritated, miserable people.
Right.
Here's the thing, guys. The only step that mentions drugs or alcohol or any kind of substance is
Yeah.
step 1. And you can take the word alcohol or drugs out and put any other word there. Anger, resentment, betrayal, abandonment, all kinds of shit. Shame,
Regret.
pleasure, regret, divorce, whatever. You could put
Well-
that there, and if the whole world worked a 12-step,
Right.
we would be so much better off, Mike. I'm totally with you. Back to Brent.
9, step 8, prepare to apologise to everyone for everything
Tough one.
affected by your being so fucked up. If you've been a drug addict for any serious amount of time, you've caused some real damage to people. Or if you've been a person that's just put yourself first a lot,
Pause.
you'll have caused real damage to...
So this is, I'm sure most of you know, but if you don't, make a list of those that we have harmed. That's what he's talking about right here. And then the fun, hard part is step 9 that comes, and that's when we actually put that list he's talking about into action and directly make amends to those people wherever possible, except when to do so would hurt them or others. Let's see what he says.
people. I did, and part of my journey has been going and making amends, not just because restitution and apology are good, fine spiritual things to do, but also to remind me that I don't do that sort of thing anymore. Now when I feel the sort of the casual urge to be dismissive of people, something in me reminds me, don't treat other human beings as a commodity. People don't only exist to serve you. Every single one of us in this room has our own little story, has our own little pain, has our own little journey, and none of us needs to be subjugated into one another's lives. But there's some of us have a tendency to insert ourselves into other people's drama. Some of you are like, oh, why do I always go out with arseholes? And those of us that are arseholes are very grateful for your arsehole attraction. You may be right. It may be better if you looked at your code, looked
So
at your
funny, bro.
programming, looked at the kind of relationships you're drawn into. Step 9 is, having made a list of all the people you've damaged, you become willing to make amends to them. Unless
putting
you
that
make
list
them
into
fuck
action.
their shit up bad for them. E.g., you don't go, mate, I'm ever so sorry, I've been having an affair with your wife. That was wrong. If that person doesn't know that,
Right,
they've
so
just made
pause.
their life far, far worse.
What he says right there, what he's talking about using the example of, Hey, best buddy Mike. Listen, for the last 6 years, me and your wife have been having an affair. That's what he means by in step 9 when it says, make direct amends to those wherever possible, except when to do so might injure them or others. Because not only would that really mess Mike up in the head, but he's liable to pull out a gun and shoot me. So, he could hurt him, I get hurt, or worse. So guys, use your common sense. Let's see what he says more about that.
It's a program of spiritual growth and development. The final 3 steps: 10, watch out for your fucked up behaviour and thinking, and be honest when it happens. 11,
Pause. Okay, so step 10 is the one that we should do every day. That's when we take our daily reprieve every day, our inventory of that day.
Yeah.
And you leave it at the day so that you can clean your headspace before it hits the pillow. So that's one we do all. We live in 10, 11, 12. Those are action steps. Those are steps you live by. Okay, let's see what he says.
Connected to your new perspective. That is an interesting thing, and that's where prayer and meditation become quite important. Like, there will be times in a day when you let go. You know, when you see a cyclist and a cab driver about to have a row in the street, they've let go. They've let go of the connection, haven't they? All that matters in that moment is, I'm going to fucking kill you. But if you were able to talk to them and go, mate, you've got your fucking family, your kids, are you willing to give your life up? There have been moments in my life where I've done it too, where I've gone, I'll fucking put all the chips of my life, I'll put on that, so I'll gamble a lot on you, mate, I'll fucking kill you. And like, for what? For what? For some moment, like, doesn't mean anything. So the step 11 becomes, with step 10, you're constantly observing your patterns. You're watching your mind work. Oh, look, I'm doing that shit.
Every day.
Step 11 is you remain connected. So that there aren't, you'll notice it. If someone provokes you, check me. I am easily provoked.
Living in
if
10 and 11.
Not being respectful
Those
to
steps never stop.
Because I'm not a conventional male. I grew up in a very conventional male environment. If I feel intimidated or threatened by men, I feel I have to overcompensate for that. But I know that about myself now, so I'm not entirely...
He's talking about his own
The 12th
stuff.
step is where you dedicate your life to helping other...
So this is step 12. You know, we continue to practice these principles in all our affairs, right? And we carry the message to the sick and suffering. So that is, wow, great. If you've gotten to step 12, look at all the benefits that have come into your life. Look at how much better you feel, how much better the world smiles back at you as you smile at it. Now it's time to turn it around and pay it forward and give it to the next guy or girl. That's what 12 is. Let's talk. Let's see what else he says about it.
Where we unpick the great problem of our age: self-centeredness, narcissism, obsession with self, my hair, my products, this lovely little fucking Alexander McQueen little skeleton thing. I start to look beyond self-centeredness, knowing that it will always be there, but
right.
not
So what he's saying right here is
my
coordinate. We lose interest. We lose interest in ourselves, and start gaining interest in others. Self-seeking leaves us. That's what he's talking about here. Okay?
My guiding star. My guiding star becomes, are you being kind to anyone? Pause for a moment to think, have you done anything for anyone other than yourself all day today? And if the answer is no, that's a weird thing for a social animal that's meant to live in little tribes, roaming through forests and plains. If all you've done is, I want this, I want that, I want that.
Pause real quick.
I'm talking about you, I'm talking about me.
Ask yourself that, guys. And Mike and I will ask ourselves this as we're sitting here with you. How many times did you help somebody today? How many times were you of service to somebody else today? Because if the answer is is low or not at all, or none, you should probably check yourself. Because as animals, creatures that are meant to be in social groups, if you're not helping your social group, what are you doing?
Right. Now, 2019, the world has changed.
Sure.
People are way less into social gatherings or social groups or even fucking coming in contact with another actual person.
No, they're into social media.
In real life. So nowadays, you gotta make some kind of specific effort if your life is lived on computers and your phone and social media and like lots of shit is. you gotta like make an extra effort to like
Put yourself out there and
in
connect
real
with
life
another human
or
being.
whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean it's different.
I think what Mike's saying too is that
or give money.
careful not to
I'd rather do that.
careful not to live behind the bars of your cell. Don't be an
easier
android
just to
using
give
an
charity.
android. I'm going out to dinner tonight with my mom, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my dad's best friend and his wife are in town, so me and Jess and the baby, and we're gonna be at a restaurant that's a pretty popular restaurant. I'm curious to see it because none of us are gonna be on our phones when we're at dinner. We're gonna be talking to each other.
Mhm.
But I bet the majority of parties in the restaurant aren't gonna be. When you go to a restaurant now and you see families, everybody's on their phones. So what Mike's saying is true. We're losing human connection. We're slowly being dumbed down.
I think so.
I think that if you don't see that, you need to open your eyes. But to get back to what we're talking about, guys, obviously Russell Brand has an amazing, and I think it's pretty accurate spin on the 12 steps. I mean, he didn't go away. He's not making up, Russell Brandt's anonymous.
No.
He's just on it, man. And he's one of us, so he knows what it's like. So guys, tell us what you thought about this video. Tell us what you thought about Russell Brand stuff. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and watch our other videos, guys, because we're doing all kinds of different content. So if you don't want just the AA thing or just the NA thing, or you want somewhere in the middle, or you want other alternatives, this is Recovery Shared, your online source for all things recovery and addiction. For Michael Stone, I'm Justin Sims. We'll see you next time.